or no?
Usually, yeah, the
Usually.
last couple of weeks I've been sleeping in a bit later, but usually I start work around 7.
Oh. And how long do you work? This not part though. This yeah, but
Yeah, from 7 till 10 in the morning, and then I go to gym for a
oh.
couple hours, and then I come back. I try to get back to work at 12 and work to 3, and
Mm-hmm.
then I go for an hour break. I go for a walk. There's a river by us. That's where I recorded that video
All right.
for you. I was on that afternoon walk. I usually listen to podcasts or think about business problems. And
Mm-hmm.
so I sent you that video. And then when I get home, I would work from 4 to 6 p.m., something like that.
Also,
So
it's
it's
a
eight
still
hours. It's
8 hour. Yeah.
broken up over the day. Because I work from home, there's no travel time. And so I try to get out every 3 or so hours.
That's interesting. I would want like I'm curious if I can like mimic that because like yeah I'm burning out like that's what I feel like especially the energy level sometimes because yeah I've been work full time work from home for like 5 years so yeah y- me
Yeah,
hearing you going to the gym is like an unlock.
it resets and refreshes me. I feel like I'm coming back to the day again, like it's a new start.
Mm.
Whereas without it, I start to lose energy. Anyway,
Hold on.
cool. So
Okay.
what's the plan? What's first on the agenda?
Okay. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Why is this taking so long? Hold on. Yeah. So I'm loading something. Hold on. Got it. Let me load this up again.
I forgot to have breakfast this morning, so I might eat while we talk if that's
Oh,
okay.
yep. I'm drinking coffee right now. So that's the benefit that we have, right?
Mm.
Okay. So again, for the target audience, right? So first is just about your target audience. Like we're just gonna find basically the one person, right? Because I think you already know this already. Um if we dilute it to like more than one, even though it's not like what you did, right? Even though you targeted full service agencies, am I correct? You still landed to that IT consultancy.
Well,
So
he's a past client, but yeah,
oh, oh okay. Okay, that oh that's important for me to know.
essentially everyone that I'm talking to from my marketing currently
Mm-hmm.
is a marketing agency. So I've had about 14 people reach out, something like that,
Wow.
from the current marketing, and they've all been agencies.
Yeah, I'm curious. So do you like really want to hone in? So say we can start there. Do you really want to like focus on them per se?
Yeah,
Um.
that's a good question, Francis. So this is my struggle at the moment. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I like about with targeting agencies
Mm-hmm.
is that it's the same type of business.
Right.
And so if I work with someone like you or just anyone,
Right.
it's easier to understand the business if you work with the same type of business.
Mm.
Because you would understand marketing
So
agencies a bit more. But if one client is IT, the next one is legal, and there's like a whole bunch of different industries, then it's difficult for learning. So that's the benefit for agencies. The other reason that I'm tempted to stick with agencies for the next month or two and
mm-hmm.
just see if we can get that working
Mm-hmm.
is because everything I've built so far is for agencies. I have a research report, I
All
have a
right.
diagnostic. There's hundreds of hours in to that content that I've put there, and agencies are really liking it, like really liking
Mm.
it. I'm
I
getting
mean, I'm liking it like as a non-agency, you know what I mean? Um, okay, cool. So I think yeah, I could already tell like how would the direction of this conversation would end up. So I would feel like the main bottleneck, like remember what we discussed yesterday. So their ego is probably the only thing that's gonna be in the way. It's not even your services. It's gonna work for them. We know that, but it's more of like, do they even want to try that out? Right. So I think we should just understand um your ICT a little bit better, or at least me, you know what I mean?
yeah,
um
yeah, that's my big struggle with
mm-hmm,
selling to agencies. But the thing I'm not sure about is, could I get around that
mm,
by designing a better service? So, for example, I've had 14 people reach out. In the early days, there was a wait list, so I didn't contact them back straight away. So, a lot of people got cold. But I ended up booking in probably 8 meetings, something like that.
mm,
And a lot of people seemed very interested, but nobody ended up moving forward. One person kind of did. We did a free trial, so you know how you did
mm-hmm,
your you offered a free foundation sprint. We
mm-hmm,
did that. So I did a couple of workshops with them for free, and then they kind of said, "Oh, we've had a big fine pop up that we need to pay, so we don't have as much money, and we also kind of want to take it from here. We want to do this ourselves." So that's been my experience so far. But part of me is wondering, am I just selling something that they don't want to buy?
mm,
Because what if I said, because there's two things, and this might help you with your process as well.
mm-hmm,
This foundation work that we're doing now is exciting, but at the same time, it feels like a lot of effort
mm,
to not get anything out.
mm.
And
Yep.
so I'm just thinking out loud because it applies to me, but it also applies to you.
Right.
So something that I've been thinking about, because what I do currently is very similar to your foundation. It's like, hey,
Yeah, yeah,
let's do
that's
a
what I'm
2 week
saying.
sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 week sprint. We will figure out your advertising niche. Let's work out who
Mm,
you should be targeting, what you should be saying. 2 weeks, and you'll have clarity. But nothing gets out. It's just strategy work. If they don't do anything with it, it's kind of valuable, but not at the same time. If nothing gets done, I'm thinking maybe what could be more appealing is to say, hey, how about we do a 2 week experiment where we actually launch 3 posts on LinkedIn and boost it and test which lead magnets your audience might want the most. We'll test 3 concepts. And at the end of the experiment, not only will you know which lead magnet works best, but you will have some leads that downloaded that. So you'll be able to see if this concept is working, and that'll hopefully motivate them to keep going. Like, oh, wow, we got 5 people that are our ICP that have downloaded this thing within 2 weeks. We need to invest more here.
mm-hmm,
So that's an example of another idea. Not to say that it's the idea that I need to do,
mm-hmm.
but that's my thoughts currently. Like I'm just not sure if
I've I have this, by the way. I just have this problem. Like I think every people, if in honesty, this is the hardest thing to figure out. Just who to serve. Like I did try what I get what you're trying to say, because everything cascades beyond this. So this vulnerable question, right? This ICP thing. So one of the ways that I would suggest, if you're really not sure or you don't have the data yet, or you're open, but I feel like yeah, you I feel also like you're, I don't know what's the name of that psychology where you want to still go on to this agency thing just because you already put a lot of effort before, but it's
mm,
not geared toward, yeah, it's, I don't know if it's loss aversion, I don't know what to call it, but like you have a
yeah,
bias right
sunk
now.
cost fallacy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have a bias right now, so I'm just gonna slowly like pinch that, because like I really believe for you, like I already know. So we kind of do it backwards right now. So we already know your solution, right? Your offer. and that's great. I even have a thing called reverse ICP. So what I mean by that is like a formula, because before, even though I graduated as a marketer, I had 2 years of engineering background as a college student. So all I did, like, I connected that to, we need just have a formula, and sometimes a formula doesn't have the middle part, so you need to transpose, right, something something like that. So for you,
Mm.
you don't have your ICP, but you have the problem that you have.
Mm.
I think you're clear on your problem, and you're clear on the solution. So we need to transpose that, so that we already have this plus this equals the
Mm.
ICP. You get what I mean? So who are the
Yeah, yeah,
people,
yeah.
you get what I mean? Who are the people who are most likely to um pay for that service without, like, and we can reach them out on LinkedIn, and their ICPs on LinkedIn. Yeah, I call that double ICP, because your ICP's ICP, right, needs to be on LinkedIn. If you get what I mean, not
Mm,
just your
mm, mm.
ICP.
Yeah,
Um,
you're right. You're right.
right. Who are those? So I think we're kind of like, let me type while I'm doing this, because, like, I think, do you agree? Like, first of all, like, let's build your, like, ideal ICP from the ground up, just because, like, we know the problem and solution already, if that makes sense. So let's just
Hmm.
reverse engineer. So I'm sure their uh ICP
Yeah, I'm
is
following.
in
Yeah, so
there.
so in answer to your question, because I have thought about this a lot.
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Two
believe
things
you.
I want to mention. First, in terms of the sunk cost fallacy or my bias not to change.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my wife
Yep.
just needs my phone.
Yeah, yeah. No, no.
I don't think it's as much of a I don't want to change because actually part of me doesn't want to serve agencies.
Oh, okay.
I want to serve consultancies, but agencies would be playing to my current advantages.
Ah,
Does that make sense? I've yes,
explain that
there's
though.
a
Yeah,
side of
I'm gonna, like, yeah, explain why you say, like, you're good. Yep, your advantage.
yeah. Well, I've just put a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
into building up marketing for that. So we could target these other people, but I'll need to redo my LinkedIn profile, redo
Ah,
my website. The report's not really as applicable, which is how I'm getting all my leads currently. So there's a lot of rework there. It's tens of hours of work to go in that direction. So it's like, yes, I want to go in this direction, but at the same time, I have this stuff. It's like saying, oh yes, I want to live in New York,
mm-hmm.
but I own a house in California. My grandpa gave me a house, no debt. So it's like, do I live in New York, but then I got to pay all this stuff, or do I play to the cards that I already have in my favor? It's
Got
that
it.
situation.
So it's more like, okay, so I think we need to double down now. I think you're already firm in that decision. And I get it. And also what I'm also thinking, like, this is not a lifetime permanent decision. We could always pivot. But
Yeah.
I'm sure, and I can guarantee that you can at least close. Like, yeah, you only need, at the end of the day, I know your end result or your dream outcome, which is 5 clients. And I think that's not impossible for us to close 5, 7 to 8 figure agencies that will work for you. Like, that's not impossible. That's super
Mm.
achievable, especially like what you said, playing with your cards, right? So let's, like, I think now that, I kind of agree now. So okay, so can we just, like, what's, like, your best definition of your best, like, your ideal client, right? Just list them out, and I'll try to type them out as much as
Yeah. So
possible.
so let's start with agencies for the next 2 months.
Okay. Like,
Get
what type, like, full service, like,
five
which is
5 million a year to 20 million a year in revenue. I'm I'm open to talking to agencies from 1 million a year. So 7 and 8 figure agencies. They Yeah, I'm targeting full service agencies because my unique mechanism works for them. But I'm also okay to help niched agencies because it's the same solution. They like for example, niche your advertising, not your agency. That's what a full service agency would care about. For the niche agency, even though it doesn't seem like it, the same concept still applies. It would just be
Mm-hmm.
reworded to don't sell everything you can do,
Mm-hmm.
sell what you do best.
Got it.
And so they may have three or four services, but just lead with the one that you do best. So the same concept applies, even though it seems like it doesn't. But yeah, I'm mostly speaking to full service, but I am happy with any type of agency. I'm finding in this case, I have got a mix. So I've had 14 people reach out. About 10 have been full service, and about four were niched agencies.
Mm, got
So,
it.
and that's with my current positioning targeting full service agencies. So I'm happy to have my public positioning be full service agencies, 7 and 8 figures. In Australia at the moment, just because it's convenient with the time zone, but again, that one's a bit more negotiable. I don't really feel like working at midnight with a US company, but if somebody in the UK reached out or the right agency in the US reached out, I'd consider them. But I'm not advertising anywhere outside of Australia. So it's basically just Australian agencies.
Mm, okay.
So yeah,
Awesome. Awesome.
does that give
Um,
you an idea?
yep. I mean, that's a good start. Um, but let's talk more deeper of like just the person like that we're gonna be targeting because at the end of the day, it's just a person, right? We're targeting. Yeah, we targeting 7 to 8 figure, but there's probably one decision maker even at that point, right? The agency owner or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through like what how do you imagine how the person, yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but thank you for the it's a good like constraint because everything
Good
that we're
start.
doing is constraint, yeah, constraining
Mm.
your. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Okay, great. So the you're right, there is a type of person. They tend to be more the senior leadership. A lot of them tend to be founders. They either started the business or they own equity in the business. So the guy that I was speaking to a couple of weeks ago, he is the CEO of the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's a decent sized agency. He didn't start the agency, but he started a smaller agency that got bought by the bigger agency he now
Ah,
runs. So I would imagine he still owns a portion of the bigger agency, or at least treats it somewhat like his agency. So he's the CEO. It will most likely be CEO, founder, maybe head of growth or head of marketing. Above 5 million a year, then agencies start to have heads of marketing. Not all of them, but
mm-hmm.
from that revenue is where they seem to start. Below 5 million a year, it'll most likely be with the founder
Right.
or managing director. In terms of the type of person I'm looking for, I ideally want to work with an agency that I ideally don't want to work with creative agencies. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with the agency space. I wasn't that familiar before doing my research, but there's different types of agencies. So you have digital agencies, digital
Mm-hmm.
or digital marketing agencies. That's the main category that most people know about. That's your standard guru
Right.
type agency. Usually they're running ads,
Mm-hmm.
doing websites, that kind of thing.
Right.
Then you have a few other types of agencies. You got creative agencies,
Mm-hmm.
which they're usually the people that make TV ads
Mm-hmm.
for your big car companies. And so I don't know if you've ever seen those ads where it's like, yeah, it's cars driving down the road and they're selling BYD or whatever the car is, they're selling that. Those ads are made by usually bigger agencies in the creative space. So they're creative agencies.
Okay.
Those that category I'm a little bit skeptical with. Sometimes it's okay if they are methodical and they have a process, but other times they're a little bit weird, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest. They're like, oh, let's be arty and creative and we will sell this product by having a dancing dinosaur eat
I
pancakes.
get what you're trying to say.
You know what I mean? And it's a little bit like what logic, like what research do you have behind that actually working? So I don't want that. I want people that actually get results and they measure those results and they have a process that they use to get those results. Those types of people, not let's just get attention and hopefully that'll convert into sales.
So, am I correct? Like, those are like, what do you call them? So I call the people that are not that is like direct response. Basically, like they want a response from you. Those are like more branding types of agencies
Yeah,
where
to be
they
honest,
just
yeah.
brand awareness. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
just gonna give. But for us, because I'm a copyright, I told you right. This more of like a direct response, more of like
Yeah.
like like an agency where they do Facebook ads, right? Even though there's a creative there, that's actually not the thing. It's more of like the analytics behind like you setting up the, you know what I mean? Okay. I think I get
Yeah.
what you're trying to say.
I think the two big categories would be performance
Yeah,
agencies,
performance.
the direct
Mhm.
response, and branding,
Yeah,
which is
we're leaning toward we're leaning against branding types, right? Branding
yeah.
types. I
If the
get what
right
you mean though.
agency approaches me, I will consider it. If they say, "Hey, this is how we do branding. This is how
Yeah.
we get really good results, and we have this process," and I'm like, "Oh, that actually sounds pretty good. You guys really know what you're doing," then I'll consider it. But otherwise, if it's like, "Oh, we make it look pretty, and let me show you our great work,"
Okay.
yeah. So that's type of agency. In terms of type of person,
Mm-hmm.
the people that I want to work with, which to be honest, they will be the people that choose me. If they don't value this, they won't choose me. And that is, I want them to have a desire to be seen as an authority.
Mm.
So not just give me business, but help raise my profile. I want to be known for something. I want to be seen as an industry leader. So you said something to me in the previous call that I now want to be known for something. I want to be good at something and I want people to know that I'm good at something. Those are the people we're looking for. Because you have agencies doing really well running Facebook ads and they're getting leads, but nobody knows them for something. They don't have authority. I want to get both leads and while building their authority.
So yeah, it fully aligns to your target, like what you said at the I remember, which is seniority, because like managers or even anyone below wouldn't even care about that desire. That's a founder type of desire, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's kind of like implied already that but that's not true though. There's some people that don't want to be known. I get that, but we want those people that, yeah, I want my face to be out there or my stakes on the line. Just like what
Hmm.
Naval said, like that's the highest leverage if your name has actually value. When people say it, like, yeah, it has meaning.
Yeah,
That
and it doesn't just have to be them. They may be thinking about that for their agency as well.
mm,
For example, I want when people think about ABC marketing, I want them to think, man, those guys they really know their stuff when it comes to Facebook ads or whatever it may be. Having the agency known for something, having their personal profile known, those will be linked, if that makes sense.
mm-hmm,
So it's not just personal profile, but also business profile.
got it. Um, okay, so yeah, let's just call that guy, for example, Tom, right? Just to make it a real person. That's Tom, an Aussie doing roughly 7 mil a year that wants to be known on LinkedIn. And yeah, in his agency, they're probably doing ads for people, right? For their target audience.
Yeah.
And they've been around the block. That's why 7 figures. And they probably are doing LinkedIn right now, but not optimized version, especially the way you do it, right? So yeah, and he also understood that personal branding is as important nowadays, whereas before it's not. Like you just need to be good, and then referrals will come. But now there's so many competitors already. I think that's it's also one of the things that you found, right? Um, the amount of agencies that pop up in the last few years, it's like doubled, but the rate of like the the demand is not catching up.
Mm.
So a lot of these agencies are actually not profiting, right? They're it's impossible. Like even the math doesn't work. That's why we're not targeting those folks. Unfortunately, we're targeting how to keep staying at that, because if you don't innovate, I don't know if that's gonna be one of our angles, because like that's a fear angle. But if you don't innovate, it's gonna be more like, hey, those guys that are below, like they're gonna catch up and they will take your market share if you think that you're built on referrals. And while they're building their personal brand, they will catch up eventually, because yeah, you don't see it right now because they have a small following, but with compounding, right, you would just night and day, you're just gonna notice a few of your clients are just gonna leave,
Mm.
just because they're more educated on how their process works, who they are more than you. And they've been around you for like 5 years, but they don't know even your process, who you are. When they search you online, you have 500 LinkedIn followers, and then you don't have a post. Your post is like a repost, right?
Mm.
I think I do, like, I don't know if that's like clicking on you of like, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that. And can I assume that some of the, like, I forgot to ask, like, what's the, I don't know, I know this is like a dumb question or something, but it's actually just the age range. Because
Mm.
like, because like it would different. I'm telling you, like, it's a night and day the way we position this. If we have, like, let's put it like a 10-year range. Okay, I don't want you to put it like a 30 year, like 30 years old to 70. Like that doesn't like
Yeah.
have.
Okay. Yeah. To just answer your previous question,
Mm-hmm.
what you just described would be very accurate. I don't want to be too hard on the fear angle. I
Mm.
find fear can feel a bit like you're trying to manipulate me.
Right.
But having said that, the picture that you painted is very accurate. I am worried in their position, right? They would say, I am worried of losing what we've built. I am stressing that we're not growing. And they are thinking about these things. So the picture that you painted is very accurate. You would think they're a seven-figure agency owner. They would
And
have a lot of marketing, all of this kind of stuff. No, I spoke to a
no.
guy, that guy that I spoke to 2 weeks ago. They do zero of their own marketing.
Correct.
Everything is referrals, and they do about 10 million a year
Yep.
in revenue. They just work with big clients that pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah, and what's gonna happen is what happens when that 6 figure contract saw a LinkedIn guy who's like less experienced than you. Yeah, I know you don't like this, but this is just for more like internal for us, just
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
see their reality, because maybe you don't want this to be like the front facing, like the way you communicate this to the world, but just to ground us to what's the reality of who they are. Like, yeah, I get. So, am I? Is it safe to assume that they're probably around 40s to how old? I
Yeah.
don't know. Like,
40,
yeah,
40, 40 to 50. That would be pretty accurate.
like because
Maybe
yeah, it would.
maybe from 35 to 50 if we had to push it, 35 to 45, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna stick with like the four because like even the 35 is gonna relate to the 40 to 50 idea that we have, because it's just a five. But I think just me doing these cycles, a 10 year is like very strong. And also there's thing called like what do you call that? Um, those like effect, like a side effect of like because we're so focused on the way we're gonna be positioning you, even though some of the people are not there because it's tightly positioned, they
Yeah.
would be attract. I forgot the term, but yeah, you get what I mean. Like there
Yeah,
would.
I know what you mean. I also think about that. I've realized an example of that is if you target bigger agencies, you
Mm-hmm.
can still get some of the
Yep.
smaller ones. Let's say we say, hey, if you run a 5 million a year agency,
Mm-hmm.
I might get people reaching out running 3 million a year
Yep.
agencies.
Because they want to
But if
be
I
the.
say if you run a 1 million a year agency, then you don't always get the bigger guys.
No, no, because they would be already. Yeah, this guy is below me. Yeah, they
Yeah,
would
so
think
it's
that.
aspirational. Yeah, I see that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Okay. Okay, I think. Okay. Okay, let me type something up for real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think like how long does he like run his agency? What's like, I know this we don't have data. Just assume. Can we say
Most of them have been in the game for at least 10 years.
at least 10 years? Yeah, that's a good benchmark. Because
Yeah.
like I agree. Because like even though like in in the YouTube space, like you just need to like do um 1 year and you're gonna be
Yeah,
that's not
seven
true. Like
figures.
yeah, good luck to that mentality.
Yeah.
You will
Day in
be
my life
crushed.
as a 21-year-old 7-figure agency owner. Yeah. That's not the standard when I look at my demographics.
And also the reality too like that
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean there's an outlier, let's say it right, there's an outlier, but how many are them? Less than 100 in the world, or even in your country, so we don't even know. And for those guys, because they're so young, they don't even like, they feel like they can like do everything, right? But this folks right here, the 40, I like that range, just cause like they probably are thinking to retire soon too. You know what I mean? Like they just hate
Mm.
the game. They just want someone that's really smart and then just can help them at least maintain or even scale their business. Because I'm not sure if they would even want to scale at that point. 7 to 8. Probably if they're being honest, they just want to not lose market share, probably is what I would assume. They wouldn't say that to you.
It depends. It depends. Because I ask this question, and some agencies will say, we just want to do good work and just want to make sure that we never run out of work to do.
Mm.
And
Those are the
others
honest
will
ones.
say, we want to grow.
Mm.
But growth isn't the goal for everyone, but it's
Yep.
definitely the goal for some people.
Right. Um, my question again is like how many staff are we talking about here? Two, like 10, 10-ish, at least 10, or
At least, yeah, at least 10.
it's like
So
this.
generally, to give you an idea, an agency in Australia would make 150,000 to 250,000 per employee. So let's say 200,000,
Ah,
which is a bit above the average, but let's say 200,000 per employee. If they have 10 employees, they're doing
2
about
mil.
2 million, one and a
Mm-hmm.
half to 2 million a year.
Right.
So yeah, from about 10, if they're doing 5 million, they'll probably have about 20 to 30 employees. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Once they hit 10 million, they'll probably have around 50.
Okay, so I have this specific question too. Like I'm gonna type this. I think you already said it, but I want to resurface it. So I think you have a talk right with the ideal customer or ICP already. So what's the thing? What's the bottleneck for them right now? Like maybe not just to connect the like your offer, just them speaking it out loud, so that we have a record of like what are they telling you when you talk to them? Like, what's their bottleneck right now?
By bottleneck, do you mean problem?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's their like painful, like current, you know what I mean?
They want more predictable customers.
Well, let me. So before I move on, so nobody told you. So I get it. So it's marketing, right? So nobody
Yeah.
told you like we have so many opportunities, but we don't know how to close them. Nobody told you that. It's like a conversion problem. Okay, and then lastly, yeah, because there's only probably three main bottlenecks, right? That's marketing, and then lastly, nobody said like we just want to systematize to make sure that our system is well organized and full. We want AI to be adopted or something that talks like no nobody told you that.
No. They're
Whoa, that's a
they're
good insight
probably
just for me personally. Okay, okay,
yeah.
continue.
Having said that, I talk about agency growth as an umbrella,
Mm-hmm.
but I lean more heavily on marketing.
Mm.
And so that may influence things.
I get what you're
But
trying to say. So they're not disclosing probably other problems because they know you're the marketing guy. Is that what you're trying to? Okay.
that has part, yeah, that's what I'm saying in part. That may influence it. But I think at the same time, genuinely, agencies just care about marketing most. They want lead flow. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. The first is the market is very competitive in Australia at the moment. So
Mm.
it's harder than it used to be to get clients. The other reason is how agencies acquire clients for their clients is very different to how they acquire their own clients.
Mm.
Most of the agencies that I talk to and I help will help businesses selling to consumers. So they might
B2C.
help,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, construction businesses building houses, or they might help like tradesmen where it's like they do kitchen renovations, or they might help businesses selling skin cream or toothbrushes or that kind of stuff. It's things to consumers. It's not B2B. And B2B is very different. Because you may be able to make a TikTok video dancing around with a chocolate bar
Mm-hmm.
and people will buy the chocolate bar. If you do that dancing around talking about your marketing services, people aren't going to buy your marketing services. So that I think is one big thing. Longer sales cycles, different marketing process, so they don't know how to market for themselves because it's different. Yeah. But looking at the research as well,
Mm-hmm. I'm just
I
typing by the way. Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Just let me know if I'm talking too
No,
much.
no, 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 no. Yeah, I need you to talk. Yeah, please continue.
Okay, cool. So the agency research that I did is what separates high growth agencies from the rest. High growth I defined as the top 25% of agencies. What
Mm-hmm.
separates them from the rest? So that's growth holistically, which does touch on operations, delivery,
Right.
so doing the work as well as finding the work. But generally, I found that the agencies that grew the fastest had consistent marketing.
Mm.
So ultimately, everything is downstream from marketing.
Right.
Yes, if your delivery is inefficient and you're not charging enough, you're not going to be able to grow. But if you have unlimited amounts of work coming your way, those problems become easier to fix.
Right. It's,
And so the biggest problem for most agencies is marketing because it's the first problem you need to
it's so
solve.
funny.
And most of them haven't solved that. Like this agency 2 weeks ago, 10 million a year, still hasn't done their own marketing. So they haven't solved it. Now they may still grow, and you can still grow fast if you have a good network and you're good at what you do and you get a lot of referrals. But yeah, that's that's why most of them also care about marketing because it's the hardest one to solve, and they haven't done it.
Let me type for a sec.
Yeah, yeah, please take your time. Yeah. Yeah, so it is really interesting.
Yeah, it's
People just
yeah,
care
it's so
about
funny.
it.
Like yeah, yeah. Because like I can relate to that. Like I'm a ghostwriter, but I don't have like a system sometimes to create my own. You get what I mean? Like I don't know what to call that though. Like I think that's true not just for us. It's just for everyone. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Teachers that are teaching really well, they're not like practicing what they're read like I saw you say have you seen like Usain Bolt's coach? The fast and math. Like if you can research that guy, he's like I'm gonna describe it like he's not athletic. Let me say it like politely. He doesn't look. It doesn't look very like if you don't know that that's Usain Bolt's coach, you would just see like that's a regular dude in Africa or something like that. But yeah, so what I'm trying to get at is like yeah, is what you're trying to say. There that coach built basically Usain's Bolt mentality, how he does it. But it's a bit like what you said. Maybe I could type that. It's a different skill set though. Helping
Yeah,
someone to grow is a different like helping yourself. Like people like assume that it's the same thing. If you can do it, you should start doing it. You heard that line before, right? You're so
yeah,
good at making me advice. Do it yourself, but I think there's a fallacy in that thought process because it's a different because the way you're processing outside of your own POV is different because
yeah,
you're reducing, you're deducting your trauma, you're deducting your all of your negative baggages, and you're just seeing the POV as pure as it gets. Like basically what we're doing. Like you probably would do the same thing to your clients, like what you said, literally. But now I'm trying to help you because like it's not that you don't know this. You know what I mean? It's more of like you
yeah,
just
yeah,
need an
yeah.
outsider space. I don't know. I feel like there's something here. I don't know how to flesh it out though. But
Yeah,
so that when we're
there's
targeting
three
them,
reasons.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They would
There's
relate probably. Sorry. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no, no. I can relate to that. It's actually one of the three reasons why agencies don't do their own marketing.
Mm,
The first reason is what we talked about. They don't know how. They may feel like they know how, but they don't actually know what's going to work. They have ideas, but they'll need to try things and figure it out, and it will take a lot of trial and error. So when they do try something, it doesn't work as well as it needs to. That's the one reason. Now that's the hardest one to get agencies to admit. They won't tell you that
right.
we don't know what to do. The second thing is they just don't get time. And the reason for that is because client work always takes priority. So there's two main parts of the business: getting work and delivering on the work. You're paid to deliver the work. So if you're getting paid for that, that will always become the priority.
Right.
And generally, things take longer than you think they will. And so marketing always gets neglected. Essentially, the solution to that is you need to have somebody who's dedicated on marketing. The mistake agencies make is, oh, we're good marketers, we'll do our own marketing. And they use the same person for their clients as their own business. And so when they get busy, that person just focuses on the clients because that's the priority. So you need to have someone whose goal is to just focus on their marketing and can't get sucked into client work. So that's where I think I can actually add value to these agencies. It's the I'm not going to get sucked in and the accountability side to make sure that it gets done. So that's the second reason. So first reason, they don't know how, but they won't admit it. Second reason is they don't have time. That's the one that's talked about the most and they feel the most. And then the third reason is inside the bottle, which is what you were talking about. They're so close to it, they feel like it's hard to get clarity on what to do. They're too close to the painting to see the big picture, which was what you were talking about with us, where it's like, oh, you know all these things and you thought about it, but you still don't know what to do because you're too close to the problem. You're in it every day. You need space. But how do you get space when it's your daily job? So
I yeah. The, yeah. this type of languaging, I'm telling you, when they see like this is like what do you call that, taboo? Am I correct on that term? Like taboo. It's like we don't speak it out loud in this space, right? Like because it's gonna be humiliating to admit that you're a seven-figure founder that doesn't know how to market its own marketing agencies that's doing seven, like yeah, almost everything that we're gonna be solving in the marketing probably is just psychological or mindset.
Yeah.
I'm not joking because they're so probably they're like us, like they're I think marketing has gone to the point where it's all mathematical at the end of the day, right? I want to get results, 5 at least. They forgot that they need to restructure their mentality too about it, like, and be honest, because like I think we need to destroy the way they're thinking too. That's why we need to understand where like this is more of like the psychological part of the who is their target audience, let's say. um
Mm,
yeah, because
yeah.
like that's interesting for you to say that guy. And then I think the key thing is like the reason why they don't want to face that, like, again, that reality is because um yeah, they just don't want to feel like they're not competent. But that's not true though. Like I think that the argument is like that's not true. You're still competent, and that's the reason why you made it this far. Is that you're conflicting the idea of like once you know how to generate results to other people, you're conflicting you that assumption that you also have to know how to do it yourself. But I think the angle is like it's not true. It's a completely different skill set to do it yourself and to do it for others. So don't conflict that if you're good at this and not this, therefore you're fake. Because I think if let me know if you think like because they're fearing like if they admit that they know how to do it, that they're incompetent on making generating results. But what we're trying to say is like that's not the cause and effect of
Mm.
that. It's a completely different skill set, or even like yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's like I've never seen anyone on LinkedIn touch that angle. By the way, so if we're like talking to a very niche audience, which is probably like what? How many do you assume in Aussie? Sorry, Australia. Would we talk like how many like roughly like are they like 2,000 people? Like those
Yeah.
founders, 7 to 8
So,
figure.
so to give you an idea, there's around 8,000 to 9,000 agencies in Australia.
Okay,
80% are doing less than 1 million a year.
okay. So what's the math on that? Yeah.
So there's about 2,000 agencies doing above 7 figures,
Right.
and
Yeah.
each the bigger agencies get, the more senior leaders there are. And so there's 2,000 agencies that would be in my target market. On average, each of them will have 4 or 5 senior leaders. And so there's about 10,000 to 15,000, let's say 15,000 people to target.
Got it. But it's almost feels like let's go back to the 2K people. Even
Yeah,
we
2,000
multiply
agencies.
that to times 5 or 6, their proud their mentality is almost kind of like exactly the same, which is easier for us to like remember. I forgot. Yeah, what I mean is like if it just target one of them, the other persons would relate. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a constellation. I think that's the word. Like I mean, we're targeting a star, and then they're like even the other stars are like just gonna form because like they can somehow relate to that. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, realistically, we're speaking mostly to the founders or heads of growth.
mm-hmm.
The other people may be interested, may not be. But yeah, we're really talking to agency leaders. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
mainly the founder and head of marketing type people. The titles can vary a little bit depending on the agency. Like the bigger the agency, the more they may split up the roles. So in one agency, you may have head of growth. In another agency, that role may be split into 3 roles. It's like, oh, we have a head of partnerships to do marketing by collaborating with other businesses. Then we have head of strategy to map out the business roadmap. Then we have head of of growth to work with the sales team. So they can split out that role into different people depending on the business, if that gives you an idea. The bigger businesses have more work, so there's more roles.
Got it. Yeah, I mean that gives me clarity to like who we are targeting. Like it's so less people because like if people are if us are over like we need to target 100,000 people like yeah it's done it's over. But now I think you can define it like you already have a niche because 15K right
Yeah,
is
it's nice.
super niche and we only
Yeah.
need five. So what's the conversion rate that we're talking about, right? Like zero point.
Yeah. Yeah,
Of course,
it's
in
very low.
reality, yeah, of course, in reality, that's not really the number. It's more of the 2,000 because the 15,000 is not individual agencies, right? The 2K is the true agency, the only thing. So what's the yeah? I really like math, man.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, one of my goals is to build a newsletter with to be the newsletter that has the most agencies on in Australia. So like 50% of Australia's 7 and 8 figure agencies are on the newsletter. Currently, I have 250 people on my newsletter, maybe about 70 to 100 agencies, something like that.
Mm, wow. Yeah, because
So,
if you have them in that list, yeah,
mm,
it's just so easy for them to one day convert if they have the budget probably to test out a new platform which is like or a new concept what you're doing. So can I follow up on this one though? Not follow up, another question is like what do you think like they have already tried so that we can communicate that too, not just the psychological. Now it's more of like okay what have they tried before. um
yeah, it's a good question.
So for example, like did they try I think we can list out did they try their own marketing, right? I think we can list that.
Yeah, that would be the first one that I was gonna say,
And
is they
then
try to get somebody internal, their
mhm,
in-house team to do it.
okay, I'm just gonna list out an example just so you can have at least some working things, but these are not true. Maybe an in-house oh yeah, did they hire an in-house marketer that didn't like crack it, hand it over maybe to one of their juniors, right? To test it out, try posting themselves for a month and then no results and they just stop doing that.
Mm.
Yeah, or maybe they tried an agency that promised leads. Probably some of them are like this, but it didn't, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's think through this. I think some of them might have tried an agency that promised leads, but what I'm finding
Mm-hmm.
with the bigger guys is they already know that's not going to work for them
Oh,
because it's a different game. So as soon as somebody, and I see this now shifting my target market,
right,
as
right.
soon as somebody says to me, we'll get you 30 qualified appointments in 60 days or you don't pay, I'm like, 30 qualified appointments. That to me straight away says you're targeting small businesses
Oh,
because, first of all, 37 to 8 figure agencies is a lot. Secondly, it takes time because
mm,
those are the big guys
longer,
making
yeah,
longer decisions. There's
longer
five
sales
people that
cycle.
have to be
Mm-hmm.
on board, so it's not as quick as the small businesses. And the other thing is, so that's the why the marketing won't work in my mind. But it also tells me that you're not talking to me because I can't handle that volume. Even this
Mm.
2 million a year agency, it's like if you got us one client a month, like that, we would be struggling to cope because it's big
It's
work,
too
it's
much.
big
Yeah.
projects. Even for me currently, like my goal is one client a month, something like that. Maybe
Mm.
maybe two, but
That's the
one
theory.
or two a month, which general conversion rates would say you need 3, maybe 4 meetings to get a client. So if I want
Mm.
one client a month, I need 3 or 4 appointments.
Right.
So if you're saying, oh, we'll get you 30 appointments, I'm like,
Okay.
no, these are going to be like small businesses. And even
Yo.
if it is accurate, like it's too much. It's not, you're not talking to me and my problems.
Mm. I like that.
So
So probably they
yeah, and
tried an agency. So yeah.
yeah, and I have had people reach out because they said, oh, they could tell my marketing would work for bigger businesses. I'm not like the marketing gurus where it's like, oh, we will get leads for your agency, but you can tell that they're not quality leads, they're small businesses and so on. Even if they're legit, it's like, yeah, it's the number's too high to be believable for the demographic that they're targeting. So that would be one. Yes, they might have tried that, but I don't know if that's going to be as big of a thing that they've tried. It would, if we were to make content on that, it would probably be more along the lines of there's a lot of gurus helping agencies get smaller businesses. There's not a lot of people helping agencies get mid-market clients. So
Mm-hmm.
my one of the problems I solve is how do we help these mid-market agencies get other mid-market clients? Because as part of the research, the agency is growing the fastest sold to businesses or had clients that were doing $2 to $50 million a year. So they weren't targeting small businesses. They're targeting mid-market businesses. So that's the types of businesses I want to help agencies get. That was a bit of a ramble, but that's all about the lead
What?
generation agencies.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of other things they would have tried, posting themselves, yes, you're right, they would have tried that. There's two main categories that I'm seeing here. One is that they post themselves and they post regularly and they get a lot of likes, but they don't get any leads. We don't know if anything's coming from that. I haven't really seen anything because usually what they're posting about is, hey, we just hired a new person. Hey, we just had a morning tea at the office, free cupcakes because it's Sam's birthday. Hey, I've been thinking about, what does about work-life balance. Like it's just random stuff. It's not about the problems that they solve and their process to solving it. So they get likes, they post a lot, but they don't get inquiries. The other category is they've tried posting, but they don't get any engagement. It doesn't really seem to go anywhere. Yeah. And the solution for that, which I'm actually working on a post for this at the moment, there's two parts. One is you have to make the right type of content,
Mm-hmm.
which is more solving a problem that your prospects have. And the second, so that's the fix for the first people, is they're just making the wrong type of content. They're getting likes, but it's on the wrong type of content. The second thing is they need to boost their posts
Mm-hmm.
because these types of posts get less views because it's only applicable for a smaller portion of their audience. If you
Mm-hmm.
post something funny or just about life, more people are like, oh, that's interesting. Or if they know you, they're more likely to engage. But if you're talking about something that's only relevant to your prospects, your peers aren't engaging. And so you get less views because less people in your audience are your prospects. So you need to boost those posts.
I'm just
Anyway,
wondering. I'm just wondering because I think I want to focus on this. Um, I I, I don't know if it's like too extreme to just pick because you said two types right here. I think this is two archetypes already splitting. So I'm asking you, would you think like people would lean to hire you if they have a lot of engagement but zero leads from it, or they've tried but no engagement? Who are the like what's the easier like to close? Because like, those are three completely archetypes. If they tried it and they are making a lot of engagement but zero leads, that's a different like even though it's part of the 2K clientele, right, that we are targeting, they're gonna be a different way to in terms of like your messaging we're not there yet, but I'm just planting a seed. Or they have tried it but there's actually no um impressions or engagement in what they did, because I think if I were to suggest, that second line would be more stronger because of what you do, because like you're boosting their posts. So
yeah,
as a front end, I would suggest, even though they have already tried, even though again we can still target those people, but in our messaging though, I think it's more relatable if they said like we're not gonna attack them of saying like they don't know what to post about, because again this is our marketing goal, but it's more of like you just need a boost, right? Even though that's true, you can just do that when you already got hired by them. You know what I mean? But if you put it that way as a front end message, I know this is an internal doc, but it would cascade once we're gonna go there. I think the front end messaging would be, it's not because I know maybe we're pushing it. It's not because your content's, it's more about nobody actually seeing your actual post. Your
Yeah.
target audience doesn't even like yeah, probably you can have like 10,000 impressions, but if you see your analytics, it's like what you said, like it's outside the scope of your ICP. Like the
Mm.
only way if you really want to dial in is to boost it to, imagine if you can target the actual people that you want to serve, and you provide good quality content to them, serve them in their face, what would happen or something like that. So what are your
Yeah.
thoughts between the split?
I'm going to break a rule
Okay, okay,
and I'm going to say we can do both
okay, no numbers.
because in terms of your question, I think that people that aren't getting any engagement would be more likely to buy because they're not getting any engagement, and then I will be further ahead than them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if somebody's getting 50, 60 likes per post, even though they're not getting any leads, it may look like I'm worse because I'm only getting an average of 10 to 15 likes per post is where my posts are sitting at the moment. But having said that, they are both problems, and I'm happy to write a separate post on each because the one is the ultimate problem is you're not getting leads from your content. You may be
Mm.
getting likes, you may not be, but the problem here is you're not getting inquiries. Your posts aren't generating work for your business. And ultimately it's a two-step problem. The first one is you're posting the wrong content, and then the second one is you have to boost it. The reason I like this angle more is because I
I
don't
like
know
that.
which one is going to resonate most. So
Right.
if we test both, we can find out. But the second reason is boosting a post sounds easy. And so if we tell marketing agencies, all you need to do is boost your posts, it's like, oh, that's easy, right? But if it's, hey, you're posting the wrong type of content, now you need my expertise. So that's something that I've been thinking about is,
Yeah, we're gonna work around this. Hopefully, if I were to work with you, but with data, I got what you're trying to say. We don't know the data yet, but once you have at least a gist, I still will still feel it would be again like, even if you say like for example, if you go to the route of the idea of like you're just internally, we're not gonna say this publicly, but your content sucks, right? Even though you say that to the people who are already like we doesn't have engagement, they would assume that that's really the case. You know what I mean? If you get what I mean. So it's
yeah,
again
yeah,
like,
yeah. It applies
or
to
even
both.
the opposite. If you want to target like people who are already having engagement but no leads, you know what I mean. So you would still attract the other type, but
Yeah,
no, you
yeah, yeah.
wouldn't attract anyone if you're saying the two. I just so believe this because like I've been around like for the copywriting. I don't want to break the rule of one. Like I think I'm not smarter than the the people that been before me saying this. So the stronger, like I feel like the analogy here is like a sniper versus a shotgun, like gun. You know what I mean? Like yeah, it would
Yeah.
pierce through. We want that,
I
especially,
agree with you.
but I'm not saying it
But
for now, but I'm saying it like in the future
mm,
if we have the data. But I'm gonna use that what you said,
yeah.
but it's more of like a note that once we have data of like we already have three clients now, and all of them relates to the one idea of like I don't know,
Yeah,
whether
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like you know what I mean. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, look, I'm happy to do that if we have more data, but the reason I'm okay to do both and break the rule of one
Mm-hmm.
is because it's not changing any of our messaging on the website or my LinkedIn profile. We can write two separate posts where each post focuses on one message. So
Right,
we're
right.
still following the rule of one for a post. We're
Mm-hmm.
communicating one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but then we're boosting them to the target market, which I think is fine because different people have different problems. Like, yes, I'm solving one problem for one person, but somebody might resonate more with I want to build authority. Somebody else might resonate more with we're just not standing out. Someone else might resonate more with we're not getting any leads, which would be most people. Like we're not getting any leads.
Right.
But there is a few sides of the same problem. So
Got it.
I'm happy to at in the beginning just
Oh yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah.
about the thing and see what's resonating and what what people care about
Yeah,
that I
we
can
just
actually
need the data. Yeah.
yeah
I'm just saying that in the future, I'm telling you, like your thing would be much more strong. Like you wouldn't be even like be you're gonna have your category of one because your whole thesis is just on one of those.
okay.
But right now, yeah, we don't care because like all we need right now is to generate you at least your next client. You know what I mean? Like I think like what you said, like all you need is like to convert at least one,
Mhm.
right? And then we can go at or at least the yeah first sorry another two so that we can like yeah I think three is enough data to just find your last two you know what I mean like to figure out
Yeah,
how we should actually position you
cool.
but yeah it's not relevant right now. So okay, I have like a bunch of questions to follow up. So I
Sweet.
think we already
Yeah,
have
appreciate the
this.
challenge.
So the fear that keeping them at night. Yeah, I really like this. I think we have that idea already, right? When we talk about. So I'm assuming if I were in their position, would you agree that one of the things that will keep them at night is like losing one or two whale because all of their business model is relying on like what you said. The only reason why they're a 7 to 8 figure is not even about their marketing. It's more about like um them having a whale client on their roster right now. So I and then they're not generating any leads. Am I correct, right? They don't know how
Yeah,
to do it or even want to know how to do it or they don't have the time like what you said a while ago. So I would assume, but let me know what your thoughts are. I'm just starting the conversation to warm you up. Is that losing one whale client, aka like 5 to 6 figure MRR client, would be what one of the things that would keep them at night. I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
yeah, spot on. Those would be the two big reasons: losing a whale client and no upcoming work. And I've spoken to both of those people. The first category that I spoke to with the whale client, they lost a whale client, and so
Fudge.
their business dropped
That's
by
why.
20% over the last year.
That's too much. Yeah.
Yeah, and so their goal for this year was just to get back to where they were a year ago.
Man, I can even feel their fear right now. You know what I mean? Like imagining that, like, and it's not even because, like, we maybe would you like because what I'm thinking, it's not even about them because they have a staff and a well
Yeah,
client
yeah,
getting laid. That means there's a potential of 1 to 2 people getting laid off. Not because I want to, it's just because it's economically impossible for me to sustain unless I take the hit, right?
mm,
I need to type. What are your
yeah.
thoughts though before I type it out?
Spot on.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Let me type because before I.
yeah. While you do that, I'm just gonna run to the toilet. I'll
Oh
see
yeah,
you
yeah,
in.
for sure, for sure. Please, please.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay, so I actually added a third one. So let me like refresh you of what you just said. So the first one is losing the whale client, right, and the cascading effect of what that entails. And the second one is not having a qualified lead or qualified appointments like in their pipeline. I have a third one. I don't know if you would agree. It would be feared. Oh, let me that a competitor or competitors um, will get market share or take away their current clients um, because the other competitors are blowing up on LinkedIn while they stay invisible or seen as invisible. Like I think it would keep them at night. Like the stealing idea of a client just because the other competitor is seen as more likelihood for them to they just want to work with them just because they are seeing them. I don't know if it's true though. Like it's just a hypothesis. We can reduce it, remove this. Like what? Like the question again to surface is like what's gonna keep them at night, right? I'm just thinking like
Yeah, I don't think that would be one of them.
okay, yeah. Let me. Mhm.
One of their problems
Mhm.
would be more on the sales side, having
Mm.
people not see what makes them different and choosing a competitor that they know is worse instead of them because their prospects didn't see how they were different.
So how can yep? It's still
It,
like take away their market share, right? That's the still, but
no,
the
it's they never get the market share in the first place.
oh
They don't lose the client, they just never win them. But I don't think that's going to be what's keeping them up at night.
yeah, I think
That'll
the two
be
one
Yeah,
yeah
that'll be a problem that we can talk about later.
yeah, but I think
There,
this two things is like yeah, it's really horrific. Even for me, I got horrified. Like I think the biggest one is the losing the whale.
yeah,
Um, because like
interesting.
I think how we connect that is like if a whale is like fearful of like the agency is not delivering just because the founder himself is not seen as an authority. You get what I mean? There's a psycholo. So because maybe the counter of that is like, why do we even care about that problem? How can we connect it to our own? Well, the connection is like if you are seen as like not the authority of your actual current client right now, and they see other one, like that's what I'm getting at. They would start that conversation in their minds of like, why is my agency not famous? And they're claiming that they're gonna help me become, you know what I mean? They're helping me to make money using their marketing stuff, and their founders like not actually known
Hmm.
for this space. So for
Yeah,
example, like Gary V, right? Gary V is a marketing agency at the end of the day, and the only reason why he got like the Fortune 500 companies, right, is because of him. I don't even know if his process is really good. All I care about is like I like Gary V, right, and I want to work with him, right.
mm,
But at the end of the day, they're not working with Gary V. They're more working like with those
with his team.
ambitious like college students like you know what I mean that probably Gary V is hiring. I don't know, like I don't watch Gary while I was like in the beginning stages. I need that motivation, you know what I mean, to start. But now I'm more of like the hormozy stage of like the practical step by step of how to actually make this work. But okay, that
Mm,
thing, and then combine that to what you said, having no qualified leads in the pipeline. Like I think it's
yeah,
like a cycle, right? The only reason why they're fearing that is because they fear that the whale client might be removed. You know what I mean? That's why they just want the safety net
I
of
think
like,
it's the other way around. I
oh okay.
think
Mm-hmm.
the biggest one to me that we also can fix would be not enough qualified leads in their pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, we don't know where our future work is coming from.
Mm. Yeah,
Most agencies most agencies can survive without marketing because they have a recurring model. They survive on a retainer. But every few months, a client might leave, or a very popular thing in the agency space is to try cover. They have their retainer base that they
mm-hmm.
try cover their employees' wages with, and then they get projects on top. So it might be, hey, this is our monthly amount to manage your Facebook ads. And then here and there, we might need to build a landing page and update your website and do these one-off projects here and there. That's a bit of extra money. So the project work isn't guaranteed. The retainer is the sustainable amount. Some agencies need project work to pay the bills. And so if they don't have enough retainer work, every month they got to try find projects to just cover the wages. And so in a sense, that can be stressful. It's like, oh, we don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
so
the
there's
new.
two parts. It's like we don't know where our next project work's going to come from. Like we don't have enough retainers to cover the bill. And then the second thing is, well, as soon as a client leaves, we don't know who will replace that. But this problem is felt more by people that know their work is about to come to an end. Like, oh, our client's leaving in a month.
Mm.
We don't know who's going to replace them. Or we have a month worth of project work. We need more project work for next month, and we don't know what's going to replace that. Those are the people that lose sleep over it. The next category is we're actually good for now, but if a client had to leave, we wouldn't be good.
Mm.
But
That's
that's
the
an
whale
easier.
idea. Yeah. So I think
Yeah, that
I
would be
just
the
I
way.
just transposed the two, like the new qualified leads and qualified appointments, like pipeline thing, and then the second would be the whale. It's almost like a cascade again, like a result of that. But both of them are like, yeah, it's fearful, man. Like I could even feel it. Like even though I'm not that guy, but if I'm like responsible for 10 people who has
Yeah,
families, you know what I mean? And then I'm gonna
it's
tell them, hey,
scary.
buddy, our client left, and I can't afford you anymore. And then that guy you're talking to has 3 children. You know what I mean? Like, man, like it will keep you because I heard that in a podcast of like that's the dark reality almost nobody like talks about entrepreneur once you have a staff, right? Because you need to be mature enough as a man or woman, whoever is like owning the responsibility to take that hit, right? And in the first place, you came to the business world to not lose your sleep, right? Just to make
Mhm.
money and have a good lifestyle. So we're actually that's like the inner personal what we're helping the founder has like to sleep at night well, knowing you have a predictable pipeline that you're actually controlling and rigorously testing so that you have at least 3 to 4 qualified appointments, right? While simultaneously building your personal brand so that when those potential clients see you, they would like know, like, and trust you even better, right? I think yeah, it's kind of like a flywheel, right? The the effect of this would affect on that, and then the effect of that will affect. It's a flywheel. It's not
Mm.
even a funnel anymore. Like what
Yeah, I
HubSpot
think
said.
in some ways, I would say the new clients coming in is definitely the first step. In terms of the whale clients leaving, the part that you're right that it's a flywheel is that their authority affects it. But at the same time, I think a bigger part is actually how well they do at delivering the work.
Mm,
Because if they don't have any authority, but they're absolutely doing an amazing job, I don't think the client will leave.
mm,
So it actually has more to do with how well they're delivering than the authority externally.
got it.
Having said that, because yeah, having said that, the one thing that does help looking at some research that I saw a while ago, if your clients consume your content, they're more likely to stay for
Yeah.
longer. So if your clients are on your newsletter, they're seeing that you're posting stuff on LinkedIn and they're valuing your thinking, that does make an impact. But I think the bigger impact will be how well the clients feel the agency is delivering for them,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the
My
bigger
counter.
space.
Mm-hmm. My
After
counter.
speaking,
Yeah, sorry. Continue. The space.
after speaking to agencies in the space that sell to bigger clients, because I'm realizing it's a little
Yeah,
bit of a
different.
different game with these
Yeah,
bigger.
above. Yeah.
It seems like the bigger companies, like some people would say our clients don't leave. The only reason a client will leave an agency is if the agency is doing a bad job,
Mm.
which is not always the case, but that'll be felt in some way, shape, or form. So it may be that they messed up, but it may be that they're actually doing a fine job, but the client feels like we need more. This is not enough anymore. We want someone
Right.
who's
That's
gonna have
that's where I'm
this.
getting at. Yeah. Because like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
thing is like your argument is saying like if they're delivering good result, I was the grass is always greener. Is what I'm trying to pinpoint. Like even though they're getting result, like what you said, they might be perceiving in their mind because they're seeing another agency in the Australia that's like everybody loves that thing, and then they know that the price of that they're getting results by the way, but they're like shiny object syndrome. The grass is always like it's I just want to try these people out, you know what I mean, that
yeah. I
idea.
don't think that's as big of a thing
Okay, that's not gonna keep
because
them. Mm-hmm.
there's too much risk.
Also but yeah.
If I'm getting results here, do I risk breaking this thing? Like that next person has to be so good
Mm.
that it
They
is
would probably
worth the risk.
simultaneously try them out, not leave the current. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
potentially. Yeah, potentially.
so okay, that's a good clarification. So my before we move on, do you want me to remove the like what keeps them at night, the losing the will client? Is that what you're trying to get at or no?
Not completely.
Okay.
I think that is a big fear, but I think it's
It's
another.
not connected to your offer, is it? I think that's what you're getting at.
It is, yeah, not in the way you said it,
Ah,
but
okay.
it can be that that's your fear, losing a whale client or losing a client. But the solution is you need predictable pipeline.
Ah, okay.
That's how we connect it, not we help you avoid losing the client. We don't help you avoid losing them. We help you not care if you do. Because to avoid losing them, that's too much around their delivery. How are you communicating? All of that. Yes, part of that will be content that we create. People that see content are more likely to stay. We can talk about that angle. I'm happy to talk about that, but I don't know if it's gonna, yeah, be as compelling. So if these had to be posts, I would say, and we were starting with the problem. Post one would be you don't know where your next client is coming from. So the solution is post content talking about your client's problems and boost it.
Right.
Post two would be you're worried about a whale client leaving. The solution is
Have more clients.
post,
Yeah.
yeah, post content and boost it. That's like get more pipeline. The other version of that post would be you're worried about a whale client leaving. Did you know that clients are more likely to stay if they see you as a thought leader and they're consuming your content? So
Mm-hmm.
you need to send your existing clients your thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
The
there's
only
two
reason why I
options
have
there.
that thought process, by the way, is because again with Gary Vee, because I've heard I don't know if it's true though. Like maybe that's like them bashing Gary. Like what they said is like these people on retainers, the Fortune 500, are not getting results from the agency, but they're still the argument, but they're still like keeping, even though it's like a bad thing, just because of the authority of Gary Vee, like of like they want to attach themselves of like I work with Gary Vee, even though they're not even like making result because they have so much money. You know those Fortune 500. You get what I mean? It's a different like way of thinking. That's why we promote that idea. Going back to you, is like you have so good of an authority. I'm not saying I'm not promote. Of course, we're not. So the argument is like imagine if you're doing great work plus you're having a good like that's a bad example, right? I'm just giving you a bad example that it could
Yeah,
still work with the way you're offering, but we're not supporting that, right? You know, I'm not saying that, okay, to be clear,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's a
No, I get
demonstration
that.
of like it's you have so good of an authority that even you don't fulfill the will, clients will just stay just because of your authority, and we help you that, but you're not that. Imagine you're good at delivering what you do and you become the authority, then it would be like unreasonable for anyone to leave you in the first place, unless of course there's a reality too that like just the
Yeah.
economic crisis, like you know, you know, COVID-19, like you know that, but nobody can control that though. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
in terms of like what you can control, yeah, make become the authority and then boost that to make sure that your ICP actually sees it. Um, and yeah, I
Yeah.
think we can. Oh, sure, sure,
I,
sure.
I I agree with that. The reason I was skeptical, if I think about it, is not just because delivery is part of the variables and that the authority doesn't just control it. That's
Mm-hmm.
part. The other reason I'm skeptical, or I think the other reason I think they would be skeptical, my clients would be skeptical,
Uh-huh.
is because it's an unrealistic promise to get them to be seen as an industry leader in a short period of time.
Okay.
The amount of authority they would need would be significant.
Right.
They would need to be a
It's
Gary Vee
like
of Australia.
yeah.
That's going to take 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's going to take 2 years. So even if somebody is seen as an authority on LinkedIn, let's say they have 15,000 followers and their content is doing really well, that's still small.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's still small, but that's significant improvement. But to steal a competitor's client because of that might not be enough.
Yeah, it's not enough.
You
You
might
need
need
to.
to have 100,000 followers, and you're the Alex Hormozy of Australia, the Gary Vee of Australia. So it's not a believable claim.
Yeah. Yep. I by the way, I didn't put that in my list, so I'm just sharing that to you. So to summarize here, like not having qualified and then losing a quill client and then having the negative side effects of that. And then the solution is have more will clients that your business will not be affected by it. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. The desire with the timeline. What's the outcome? What do you think? Like they would like. What's the dream outcome for them? If they were to work with you, like I don't care about what's their ultimate goal. Like working with you, I think is more specific question to gear towards too.
The ultimate outcome.
Mm-hmm. And then a timeline if you can attach one.
Hmm. The ultimate outcome will be ever growing. People will always want to do better and better. But a number that seems to be great for most people is if we can get their LinkedIn to get them one client a month. That seems to be a good standard. So just like you would have people might say, like in your situation, it's like, oh, 2,000 a month, that's like the sweet spot. A lot of people might want to earn that amount per month.
Mm-hmm.
One client a month seems to be the
The,
the
and also
first
it's
I
believable. Whereas the
yeah,
gurus would
yeah,
say like I would give you 10 clients per month. That means you're giving me $50 clients, bro. That's why you can deliver that. You know what I mean? That's
exactly.
the reality
Yeah.
of it. But if I'm promising one, there's something to that. Okay, why is only one? Oh, you're giving me one, but the LTV of that one would be in the 7 to 8 figure if the LTV is correct. You know, the lifetime
Mm.
value of that potential client that you're helping me bring on. Okay, let's talk. I want to have a talk with you, Jason. Like, what's your free time? Okay, I think I don't want to. That's so specific for me. That I don't even want to like push that, and I like that. Get their LinkedIn to get one client per month. That's so
Right.
specific. The
Yeah.
daily. Oh,
So
okay.
3 meetings in terms of timeline. Sorry, did you want to?
No, no, no. It's another question, but yeah, we can double down on. Yep.
Well,
Mhm.
you just asked two questions. What do they want and what's the timeline?
Right.
So if we could get them a client a month in 12 months, that would be good. So that's a decent amount of time. Now, that's not that they don't see any results for 12 months. It's that in 12 months' time, things are really moving along well. They have a posting cadence, they've built a decent following, they got a
Mm-hmm.
solid pipeline where every month they're consistently getting 3 meetings and one client. It'll probably take a year maybe 6 months, but probably a year for things to snowball. In terms of smaller milestones along the way, within the first month, even 2 weeks, we'll need to get a small win. So that might be the lead magnet experiment that I told you about. So, hey, we got some leads for a potential, but now we need to build a lead magnet. We would need to work on our content strategy, set up a newsletter. There's a bunch of setup work that needs to happen, which might take a month to actually get that out, month or 2 months, depending on how slow things go, because people can be very busy. And then hopefully within like the first month of launch, so this would be, let's say the test, we get a few leads, we then take a month to get things out, up and running fully, so 12 posts a month, and boosting them. Then month after that, they should start getting some leads, and maybe within a month or two, they should get their first call with the client.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll be ramping up from there to go from 1 call a month to 2 calls to 3 calls, and that should be enough to get 1 client.
Got it.
So yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. I can't type that because but I have the recording, so I just need to just to save us time. Okay, let's go to the third question. Like, what do you assume like their daily frustrations would be looking like?
One frustration would be never getting time for their own marketing. We're a marketing agency that neglects our own marketing. I'm always busy with putting out fires and managing, keeping the agency alive today, that I don't have time to think about growth for tomorrow. And that's frustrating. It feels like I'm on a treadmill that never stops going. I never have a breather to work on anything important. I'm always working on stuff that's urgent. That was the big one that I felt. Another one would be, again, this is speaking more from my experience, and I think it would be the same for them. Finding good people. Things feel like it should be easier than they are. And if you find the right person, I know it can be. The problem is finding someone who's actually good is difficult. And so for them, they may think like, man, I'm never getting time for this. This is frustrating. But I work at a marketing agency. There's heaps of good marketers around me. I'll just get someone to help. So they bring someone internal on board, but then they get sucked away with client work, and so they don't end up helping. They try hire some contractors, and the contractors don't quite end up being good at what they do, and so that doesn't work. The main thing is wanting someone to take responsibility for the project and treat it like it was their baby, not just another employee that's like, what do I need to do now, boss? They want someone that can be like, great, so this is where we are currently. This is what I suggest for next steps. I need this information from you to get this done. And I'll book in a call for next week. Like, lead the project, having someone that can do good work and take the work off their plate, not make them think and tell them what to do. They want someone that can think for themselves. So that's a frustration that I felt that I would imagine they would feel as well.
I'm typing it.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking in terms of other frustrations. Another frustration would be we know we're good at what we do, but people aren't seeing it. Whenever I have calls with someone, they treat me like everyone else, but I know we're better. I know we would knock it out of the park and they would get an amazing result, but I don't know how to get them to see that and how to get them to believe that. And that's frustrating. So that would be the marketing side. So I don't get time for my own things. It's hard to find someone to help. People don't get that we're good at what we do. Let me pull up actually in the research I did, there's a question I asked around what stops agencies from growing, which is their frustration. So not enough time was let me show you this. So those are the main three that I can think about off the top of my head, but I'll show you this and we can maybe have a think around it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see my screen?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I asked a question around what is your biggest frustration or challenge at the moment, and I gave a few options. Not enough time was the biggest one.
Oh, okay.
By far. Not enough time for our own marketing. So that's the first frustration I mentioned. The treadmill keeps going. I never get time. And then I managed to get a little bit of time. And then 2 days later, we got more work. And it's like, I didn't have enough time to actually get things set up and running. So that's the first one. Not enough leads, which is not a daily. I mean, maybe that is a daily frustration. I'm not sure. Like, we don't know where our next work is coming from. It's also what keeps them up at night. So that's like the big overarching thing that keeps them up at night. But they may think about it daily. Like, how am I going to pay my team's salaries? Sales cycles are too long, hard to stand out. So this is what I was talking about, where like people don't get that we're different and better. Another one that's similar to that is clients are hesitant after previous bad experiences. They don't want to work with us because they've worked with a marketing agency before and it didn't go well. And so they're worried we're going to be the same. Client budgets have shrunk, hard to get our name out, unsure where to focus our efforts. Yeah, I think those are the big ones. Sales cycles being too long or unpredictable is not one that I would have thought about, but could be interesting. We could dive into data around how thought leadership content actually
Compresses.
shrinks.
Yep.
Yeah,
I have a
sales cycles.
yeah, I have
There's
like
data around
that's where my onboard in public too comes in play. Like I don't know if you want that, but yeah, it's not a new idea, but I just call it that way. We can have your own way of saying it. Because that's the idea. It's like you're just compressing. Not but my angle is the onboarding, but this is like the sales cycle. Like close in public or something. Maybe you can just say that
Yeah.
close in pub because your thing is different for me though. Because me it's like onboarding that we're assuming that they're already clients, but here the thing is like the sales cycle, like the back and forth. So I'm sure there's a correlation between if you are a good, you know, um, a
There's a
go-to.
correlation.
Yeah, the correlation. I'm sure
There is a correlation. I've seen data around how thought leadership shrinks sales cycles,
for sure.
shorten sales. So
Like
we could talk into that data. One thing that I'm keen to have in my content is a lot of data. I want to be known as the data backed agency growth guy or data backed leadership ads guy. There's a lot of opinions out there. I'm keen to know what actually works according to the data.
okay, got it.
If that helps. So I'd love to reference things. Not to say every post needs to be like that. It doesn't. But it would be nice if people who see 10 posts can be like, wow, I love how this guy always goes to the data 6 out of 10 times. So, and I have a lot of it. Like this is a research report.
Right. We can just like
Check report.
milk what you already did for 3 months, for another 3 months,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just to
there's
compensate
a
the
lot of
amount of
stuff there.
work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's super easy these days with Claude Deep Research. You just ask a question, it finds you the research and tells you what the
Right,
data says.
right. Oh yeah,
So
you can even just do that without you us saying, yep.
yeah, so it's very easy. Like I've done that a few times, and it's like these are all the research. This is what things say. Because if I said to you,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a bit of a tangent, so I'll keep it short. If I said to you, "Hey Francis, in my experience, you should post 2 to 3 times a week,"
Mm-hmm.
you will only care about that advice if you value my experience.
Right, right.
Whereas if I said, "Hey Francis, the data shows that if you go from posting once a week to twice a week, your post will get 1,000 impressions more on average per post just by going from once a week to twice a week." That's what the data says across the board. Once you go above 3 times a week, the data shows you're better off posting 3 times a week and commenting on 3 people's posts a day. You will get more reach by posting 3 times and commenting than by posting 5 times. That's what the data says. Now you don't have to care about what I think or my experience. If I showed you those numbers, then it's like, oh, cool, that's helpful and believable.
Got it. Got it.
Does that does that give you an idea?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people on LinkedIn saying you should, you shouldn't, this is the best
Mm.
way to, according to who? Like
Right.
you have very little experience. And so I'm wary that I'm new to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be careful with you should, you shouldn't, and refer more to the data and talk about this is what's working for me, this is what I'm doing, and this is what the data says until I have a decent amount of experience.
Yeah, because
So,
at the end of the day, your experience is gonna be turned into data as well. But
mm-hmm.
it's the strongest. That's why what you're trying to say, if you don't have the XP first, rely on external data for now. But for example, like Alex Hermosi doesn't pull up like stats that much. It's pulling his stats from I work with, what I mean? Like, I'm making
Yeah, exactly.
250 million per year. So you should listen to me. Like it doesn't say it that way, but when you say like the only reason why I started like I started watching Hermosi back in like less than 100,000 views on YouTube, by the
Mm,
way. So yeah,
mm.
you too, right? Right. So I saw the mustache thing and all that. Like the only thing that took him off, I saw him like when he had that interview with Grant Cardone. That's the first thing that blew him up, right? But prior to that, I'm watching him, and the only reason is like the title is 100 million CEO.
Yeah,
That's the only reason why I clicked the first time, because if that's
yeah,
not the case, I would. So what's gonna happen is like, how about if you don't have that claim though? Well, you back it with like what you're trying to say, you with legit valuable research, so that you're piggybacking on other people's like data to prove your point or to just share what you just found in research. Yeah, I got what you're trying
mm,
to say. So for now,
yeah.
yeah, we're gonna double down on like
Great.
either you creating more of that in your, I don't know if you're looking for, doing a more personalized research more. I think this is your highest leverage, to be honest. If you were to hire me as your ghost, I think this is your highest leverage thing that you need to work on for yourself, doing this. Because if you have this data for me for at least every quarter, then we can have a content around that. You get what I mean? Like
Yeah,
maybe I'm jumping around to the next week of like strategizing the pillar, but that's kind of like I like that strategy. I don't know if you like that, but yeah,
yeah,
if you can, so that you have
yeah.
time to work on that, and
That's
you know that I'm just revolving around this data right here to post your 12 content, or 36 if we compute for 3 months, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something like that. Anyways, I'm getting afar though, so let's go
Mm.
back.
No, that's cool. That's actually one of my pillar beliefs or unique mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
I would talk about don't just run marketing to get leads, run marketing to get data. Or
I
put
like that.
otherwise, turn your marketing function into a market research function.
Wow, I like
And
that.
one of the ways we do that is with a diagnostic. So I have this diagnostic here where it's benchmark your Australian's agency's growth metric. So this is built for 7 to 8 figure agencies from the
Wow.
financial data of Australian agencies. And you can benchmark your agency against the average, against the top 25%. Now, this does two things. It allows them to see how they're going, but it collects me fresh data.
Yeah, fresh data.
And so I can use that data in my content. So then I can create insights that nobody else can create.
Right. I'm learning from you too, because like, yeah, it makes sense and it's a moat. I think in the age of
Yeah,
AI, the data is the only moat. Because
I love that. I agree. Yeah.
yeah, because like, no, what I mean by data is like, sorry, I'm not a researcher. I'm just asking as a dumb person here. What
No,
do you
totally.
call
Yeah.
what you're doing? Like, is it like primary? Like, you got what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
created your own data. So,
First party research.
can you repeat that?
First party data.
Okay, okay. Because like, this is what I'm
Proprietary.
like. I probably we're gonna wrap up, right? Because by the way, we didn't even touch session two. Like, probably we're gonna do like an overtime in some session, or maybe we can quicker the other one. I have so much fun, right? But I will respect what I said, your time. Um, but what I'm trying to say moving forward is like, I'm just having this thought of like, because you're hiring me in, hopefully in the future, right? To but I
Yeah.
think this is it. Like, this is your only moat right now, in my opinion. Your positioning, of course, once we have that, a clear ICP at the end of this, right? Clear ICP, clear breakdown of who you target. What's your unique? I kind of like know already. Like, you already gave me a foreshadowing of what our session two, because session two is all about positioning. It's like, yeah, the data guy, like marketing. Yeah, turn your marketing into market. Like that, I've never heard that. Those are
No,
the
neither
key.
have I.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the key things. Like, for me, those are the most important parts in this conversation right here. Because the other ones, just so you know, it's more of like the execution. What's your voice? What's your business model? I mean, we still need to know that, but this is the hardest part to figure out.
Yeah, it's the
Because you
hardest
need the
part. Yeah.
thinking. You need to think, right? You can't outsource it to AI. So I heard it also to validate your point about data with Alex Ramosi, because that's the only reason why he's winning right now. It's because
Mm.
the way he's talking is also grounded in his experience, aka that's experience is equals data too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Agreed. Yeah.
um, it's just converted as a story, whereas as a research there's more numbers, but it's still a data, right? It's just a different variation of a data. And I
Yeah.
believe that's the strongest one. So therefore, if you don't have, what would you do if you don't have experience yet for this specific domain? What's the second single-handedly best to counter that? And I think what you're doing is that answer, pulling up,
Yeah.
like, from the actual people that your ICP would care about knowing. You're just the data collector guy. I think that's like, if you boil it to like simple words, you're the data collector guy. And then the reason why they would sign up, and also like you said, right, in your newsletter, is this, that they can't AI the data. You literally have to sign up to my you know,
Yeah.
it needs to be irresistible. So I don't, so I have also like an idea of like that in the future would be, we don't even want to force you to have a monthly or weekly cadence, or maybe you could like suppress disclosing the information, maybe if you really want a weekly newsletter. But all I care about is like, you're only gonna post on your newsletter. It's just my idea, right? I don't have the data like what you said, but it's just an instinct. The only reason why is because I'm pulling from the first, like we said, the primary type of research that as a human I did. Like, I actually talked to these people. I didn't ask ChatGPT or Claude or Grok to pull data already on the internet. You can only see this because I actually manually did it myself. And that's the mode. Like, they can they can't like debate that. And then it's gonna be like, your content system is gonna recycle everything. You're gonna flesh out too in your LinkedIn, right? And then your probably your newsletter would be a deeper dive on that, right?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah, I'm just giving a like an idea
Yeah.
of
You know,
like,
you're pretty spot on. I've been impressed with your thoughts and observations for how little you know. It's pretty spot on.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm excited, man. Like, we're not yet done with session one. That's what I'm saying to
Well,
you. But yeah, I'm sure that we can compress other. Don't worry, don't worry. I'll figure out a way. But these are the
yeah,
hardest questions, though. That's why I'm not rushing you with anything.
cool,
The first two sessions are the key. I'm telling you. The other ones are easy to answer. You probably already know the answers. It's more of like a yes or no. What's your business model? Like you probably know that, or you know what I mean. Your voice, you probably know it. So it's immediate. So probably in the last Monday would be like the last three sessions, I would assume, right? Just because like they're like so easy to answer. We don't need to brainstorm. But here we need to take time. Especially the next session, the session two, which is the possessioning. That's where all I think the ROI of your 100 like is there. It's there because you're gonna be in the category of one. We're gonna find your unique mechanism and all that jazz. So cool,
cool.
man. I'm seeing the time. Um,
Yeah. What all is left for session one? Are there many questions left?
I'm not sure to be honest because probably I'm gonna update you on that tomorrow. Um, but yeah, probably just a few more. I don't know. I don't know the exact because I'm not doing it like a list. It's more like if you answer me, there's like a follow up question underneath that
Right.
if you know what I mean. I'm not like that checklist guy. It depends on what how we're doing so
Okay.
far. How specific are we getting? Mhm.
Okay. Do you have a list of questions for the positioning workshop?
I do. Oh, actually, so here's the thing. So the first two sessions, okay, I needed, I need you to do it with me. Okay, here I forgot to tell you this, but everything else, right? Beyond that, I'm just gonna give you like a prep, so that we even like either we talk about it in the call or you just answer it and then I reduce the questions within the call. But the first two sessions though, because you hired me to help you, I want it to be live like this, like raw. We can still develop this by the way after everything because you can see it in the final doc, right? But right now I just want like me having to brainstorm like a raw version instead of you polishing it up. I think that's not the way. At least for the first two sessions though. Again, the ICP and then your positioning. Once we're done here, that's what I said. Like we can like yeah, I can probably send you a prep questions. You can answer them if you want before our call, or we can answer them together again during the call. So yeah.
Yeah, because I'm happy to record a 10-minute Bloom video
Mm-hmm.
and walk you through an overview of what I have so far, if that'll
Oh,
help give you an orientation. Because I can talk about the unique mechanisms that I've come up with, some of the different thinking.
okay.
Because there's a few like unique mechanism. There's actually see it on three levels. You have your the top level. This is based on Alex James's framework. The
Mm-hmm,
top
mm-hmm.
level is your principle. How
Right.
familiar are you with Alex James's stuff?
Not that deep to be honest. The only reason why I really followed him is because the perspective, like the strategy thing, and
Yeah,
that's about
cool.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is part of his strategy. So he has the main belief that you stand for,
Right.
the approach you take to get there, and the tactics you use to
I
action
like
that.
that. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that right there.
So if we think about Donald Trump, the belief would be make America great again.
Okay.
The approach would be American first policies. So it's like we're going to have policies
Ah, wow.
benefit
Okay.
America first. And the tactics would be build the wall, make the Mexicans pay for it, drain the swamp, like get rid of these career politicians. Like those kinds of things are the tactics. It's like, what do we do? So if we think about Insight Leaf, the main belief is around don't just be great at what you do, or don't just be good at what you do. Advance your field, something
Mm-hmm.
along those lines. It could be
Mm-hmm.
written a bit better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm doing research so much. Like, don't just be decent, progress the knowledge that's already known, like be a leader in the field. The what's the approach that I take to do that? Well, there's two different approaches. The one is don't just have your marketing collect leads, have it collect data. And that's turning your marketing into market research. So that's how.
Mm.
How do we go about leading? Well, we stop just collecting leads and we start collecting data that can be used to create content that only we can create.
I like that.
Right? Do you see that? So that's how we go about leading our field. That's the approach we take. The approach that's under that would be don't niche your agency, niche your advertising. It's a bit like, okay, how do we go about doing that? So there's a few approaches that I have that maybe we could boil down to one, but that would be another approach. So both of those would be unique mechanisms. And then if we look at some of the specific tactics, it
Mm-hmm.
would be something like don't just post content, boost it, something like that.
Mm.
Or don't run ads, don't post content, combine both. That would be one tactic.
Mm.
Another tactic would be don't just use PDF lead magnets, use assessments so that we can collect
Mm.
data from our customers. That's another
Right.
tactic, right? Don't send a newsletter with updates about your business, send insights that they can't get anywhere else. That's
Oh, I
another
love
tactic.
that. Yep.
So you can see I have these tactics at the bottom that are like specific pieces of the business model that
Mm-hmm.
all ladder up to how we collect data from our marketing, not just leads, which all ladder up to
Mm-hmm.
progressing your field, not just being competent in it.
Okay, I have two things for you before we wrap up. Depends on what, because like I didn't ask you for this, right? Because my promise is like you're gonna get everything for this call. That's why. But I feel like you're open. Am I correct? You're open to do a homework or like a work
Yeah.
beyond. Okay, okay, got it. So my two things. You can send me all the information that you just talked about if you already have it, right? Or you can, I'm gonna list out, even, you know what, I'm gonna list out all the other questions, the beginning questions. What we're gonna do is, the reason why I want to share that, not everything so that you're not overwhelmed, it's more of like what session one, session two, those are just the first questions though, and then we're gonna tackle all of those in deep detail, like stress test them, right, within the call, so that we have a higher leverage chance of actually doing the 3 day, you know what I mean, or you just do both of those, like you send me the whatever information, and while you answer the questions, that the primary questions that I have for you in the future, what do you want me to do with that? You want both? You just want one or the other? What's your
I think I
thoughts?
might have lost you there at the minute, but I'm happy. What would be easiest for me is to just record a video.
Okay.
If I have to write things, I might not get as much time. I'm especially if it's needs to be done before our session tomorrow because I have a lot of meetings today. I
Right,
have
right, right, right.
6 hours of meetings. But if I
But
can record a 10-minute video, I can then show you, hey, look, this is what the website looks like. This is how I collect data. This is my research. Here's my perspective pyramid, is what Alex James calls it. My
mm-hmm.
belief, my approach, my tactics. I can just talk through some of that stuff. I can talk through what I'm thinking currently for content pillars. Since you
Right.
mentioned it, I've actually started writing stuff down. So I have
Uh-huh.
some ideas. So I can share just the information that I have currently, and then you can ask questions where you have more questions.
Okay, so okay, you can record that. Okay, that's perfect. And then I'm gonna be sending some questions. I'm not gonna overwhelm you, like what you said. Your time constraint right now, but maybe the key questions that I would want you. I know that you have probably know the answer to. So that, yeah, again, the 2 hour thing tomorrow would be more efficient and both effective at the same time. Okay, I think we're good for this time. Thank you for your time, Jason. I'm looking forward for tomorrow.
No problem. Sounds good. I'll probably, just because I have a lot of meetings today, I might record the video shortly,
Mm-hmm.
and then your questions I'll just answer when I can with another video.
Oh yeah, no worries about the questions are just optional. We can do that within the 2 hour call anyways. It's just an option if you have time. Yep, no pressure.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds good. But I'll
All
I'll
right.
send you, if I send you a video over the next 2 hours, would you get a chance to watch it before our call tomorrow? It'll
Oh,
be
for
like
sure.
5-10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna use that to update my questions too, so that I'm
Perfect.
more prepared next session.
Cool. I'll do that then.
All right.
Sweet. Thanks, man. Appreciate your
Yep.
time. We'll
All
chat
right.
soon.
Chat soon. Bye.
Bye.
Na, 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 na.